TK, can you hear me? TK's so...
I can hear you loud and clear.
Whoa, you are loud now. Here we are. TK, working
Hey.
hard on a Sunday.
What can we say? That's what we do.
That's what we do. That's why you get the 11% bump in wages over pandemic
11%
times.
bump in wages, absolutely.
I'm guessing, knowing you, that you have a much higher than 11% bump in your wages.
It depends, right? I mean, it depends on how many houses you're selling and what price range you're selling into, right? So,
Yeah, sure. Team, fees, lots to
sure.
calculate, right?
Yeah.
Lots to calculate. So here we are. Good morning, Mr. Has anybody ever, have you ever had a supply teacher that called you Tick?
Tick? I've had people call me Tick. Supply teacher, no, that was pretty specific. But yeah, people
Well, I don't know. I just figured
tried to blend in the two letters.
I pictured a supply teacher going, Tick Butler? Is Tick Butler?
Yeah, no, I've heard it all. Like, you'd think for two letters, it would be like the easiest thing, right? It's like someone hears your name, they'd just be like, yeah, okay, well, that's pretty simple. Two letters, TK. But I have been called every name in the book.
You'd think, I mean, mine seems pretty simple too, but Christ, I've been everything too, except for TK.
Except for I've never been called Daryl.
TK, yeah.
I'll work on that one.
Funny how that worked out, eh?
Yeah.
So here we are, another week, another video.
I love it. We're doing well. We're staying consistent. Hopefully people have got the message to subscribe.
Please subscribe.
At this point in time. If only we had a sign. Oh, look at that.
And on my end, it's backwards, so I'm confused. But anyways.
Yep, I read that right.
Speaking of confused, our friend from Adamson's Barbecue is still in the news.
Good for him. Good for him.
He has Adamson Barbecue fans now.
Way to go.
And I'm not sure if I'm one of them or not, because I'm following this story like it actually means something. Although I think it does mean something. Did you see that viral video in the States of that woman whose restaurant got closed down and then right across the parking lot they opened up a movie set?
Yeah. Well, so she was balling.
I guess, I mean, I felt really bad for her, but I kind of feel like this Adam Skelly guy's a dick, but it's the same thing. I mean, he's going about it a little bit differently than her. But I mean,
hers was a slap in the face though, because it's like she has a picture of her patio that's closed. Meanwhile, the exact same patio.
No, but it's no more
30 feet away.
It's a huge slap in the face, but it's no more than okay, just go on the other side of Steele's to that restaurant. It's cool, right?
Well, now that's done now, York region.
It's done now, so we go to the next, we go to Barrie or whatever, right? We just keep moving because we gotta go. We gotta shop. But anyway, so he says he got himself, Adamson Barbecue owner Adamson Skelly says he got himself arrested on purpose. He got himself arrested on purpose to kind of prove that, the man is coming down on us and they're tyrannical and, that they're overly aggressively dealing with this situation. What do you think? What do you think about that?
Well, I think it's a great thing to say after you get arrested at any point in time publicly. It would be like, it'd be like any other major screw up. It'd be like, well, I did that on purpose to prove a point, right? So
I meant to have all of that cocaine in my trunk and pull through this drive
through the border. Yeah, no, I meant to do that. I just wanted to test the U.S. border security.
Are you crazy? Why wouldn't I mean to do that? That makes sense.
Yeah. Well, but either way,
I think there's a lot of crazy virus-induced behavior going on out there. This is some of it. Did you see? We had this woman at Toronto Walmart removes mask to cough on fellow shopper. Did you see this?
No.
No?
No.
Okay, so here, I'll set it up for you. It's a great story.
Okay.
So you have this woman with a walker walking down the aisle with her mask on, and she's following the arrows, right? And then you have this younger girl or woman walking down the aisle going, I just want to get past you. She's going the opposite way of the arrow, mind you.
Oh,
but
no.
I want to get
Not the
past
opposite
you.
way of the arrows.
The opposite way of the
Oh my
arrows.
gosh. You know what can happen then.
Well, wait. So
Yeah.
she goes, I just want to pass and get some food for my baby. And she goes,
Yeah.
I'm in a fucking walker and I can walk the right way, go around the corner and walk down the right aisle and come around. And she's like, but then I'm going to be right here again. Why don't you just let me pass? And she's like freaking on her, and they're just yelling at each other, and one of them's filming it.
Okay.
Pretty awesome. Now, who's right though?
We're supposed to follow the arrows.
You're supposed to follow the arrows. So I mean,
follow the arrows.
Again, we don't have the best demonstration of reserve here and respect for our fellow human beings at its highest levels ever recorded. But
it's getting put to the test here. That's for sure.
She was right. And she was pushed to the point where she was upset. And she's probably freaking out about a whole bunch of other stuff right now on top of this. And this may not have been the actual incident that pushed her over.
She was right up until that point.
Yeah.
Okay. So far, up to this point, she was right. She's walking in the right direction of the arrows. Then what happened?
So then all of a sudden we add a second wrong to the soup, and what happens when we have two wrongs? They don't
make a right.
That's right. So moving on to some more crazy.
Especially for this really bad cold I heard that's going around right now.
It's a bad cold.
A really bad virus going on.
But we won't talk about it because
maybe I wasn't even supposed to say that word. We're practicing.
Toronto homeless are resorting to using TTC vehicles as makeshift living spaces. Have you seen?
I want to kind of know who coughed on who though, Daryl. Just like I'm not clear.
Oh, okay. Let's back up a sec.
The lady in the walker or the other lady?
Right. So that's the whole point of the story. So the lady in her tizzy, decides that her best course of action is to go. Fuck you. Follow the arrows.
Yeah, you don't have to spit on people anymore. Now you just cough on them, right? There you go.
We've okay. Are we regressing? Or
so at that point in time, she was wrong. She was right up until that point.
So is that a third wrong, or is that just part of the second wrong?
She made a big mistake.
Oh,
okay.
Poor people.
Poor girl.
Out there. Jesus, this is why I don't go out. So let's go back to this one because this is crazy. Imagine getting on the TTC and like literally it's like a motel now. Like you have inside a car, you have maybe 4 guys, you know. I guess that's how much is that costing? What is it? How much does it cost to get on TTC? $3, $3.25.
$3 something. Yeah.
It's a good night's stay. And
so what? They're riding it all night long to sleep there?
They're just chilling, lying there, sleeping. They got their like areas. Some of them have like
on the subway.
Police line, do not cross, and like they've made their little areas. Yeah, on the subway.
Okay. All right. That's new. Maybe it's not.
I don't know. It's got to be pretty new. I mean,
I'm not a frequent subway rider, so I wouldn't know.
What would you think if you were planning on immigrating and you were seeing like these kind of articles pop up in your newsfeed now because you've like favorited Toronto stories?
You know what? I think what I've heard is that Toronto's homeless and things like that is a bigger issue here than it is in some other major cities. We're not the worst. They're like obviously LA right now is the worst, and there's a lot of other places that are pretty bad. But apparently we don't have it really under control here, and that there is some change that needs to happen. And that's what this show's all about, you know. Like hopefully Daryl one day solves the affordable housing crisis.
That's right.
And can get more people before the robots come. Though we need to have this whole thing solved before the technology's there.
I was in the shower before the show, and I just kept thinking to myself, look, they spent all this money. Okay, sorry. The planning departments in the city have spent all this money on all of these reports and analysis and guidelines for us to try and follow. And like real estate deals take so long because what am I going to get here? Right? What am I going to get here? I think I have an idea what I'm going to get here, but I don't know because they gave me guidelines, but they don't follow them. And even if I adhere to them, well, first of all, I got to get a goddamn meeting with you to show you that I'm adhering to your policies. But assuming that I actually get a meeting with you, even if I adhere to your policies, you come up with reasons why I can't do that, right? So everything is so gray that, first of all, the transaction between developer and seller, it takes forever because nobody knows the real value other than what somebody will pay. But if you define things, if you say, this is what you can do here, we're not changing our minds, submit something within these parameters that you think somebody might want to buy, right?
Yeah.
Go.
The problem is the developers don't want to spend the money and invest time into something unless it's like a sure thing.
No, it's not even that it's a sure thing, but you want some assurances. But even with those assurances, you still don't know what you're going to get for like another year and a half, right?
But that's what you're saying, though. That'll solve the problem, is if developers could just look at a property and say, I can do this, and this won't be a problem. That'll speed up.
And the seller can go, yes, I see that is, the case. I agree, right? Okay, now, okay, it's not like, I think he's going to get this, or I think I can get this, but I'm going to tell him I can only get this, and then in 2 years, like, there's none of that. It's just like, this is what you can do here. Oh, great. Okay, I'm going to buy this because I think I can make money here at this price. Done.
Yep. Perfect.
Finished, and then boom, all of a sudden there's all kinds of housing supply, all kinds of options. People have to get, I don't know, people argue that you end up with the same thing everywhere, but I think people will get creative in order to entice people to come to theirs, because now there will be maybe a level amount of supply out there.
Okay. So what's going on in the Toronto real estate news?
Yeah, so homeowners desperately are seeking protection from Moss Park tent dwellers. We haven't really talked about the tent dwellers at all. I don't know how this affects real estate, but I mean, some people are having a tough time. There's this lady in this article. Yeah, I mean, I only bring this up now because you mentioned like the homeless situation, and I mean, we've got this eviction tidal wave apparently about to hit. Like, nobody seems to be stopping the eviction process for a lot of people. So what do you do? What do you do when you lost your job? You can't pay the bills anymore. You've lost your place to live. I don't imagine the next landlord is like, oh, you got evicted from your last place? Like, that's good. Why don't you come live in my place? Right? So now you have no money, no place to live. You got kids. Like, look at this. I'm looking at a picture of like a Winnie the Pooh
Let's
tent.
divide this into two problems here. So one is finding places for people to live. That's a huge problem. Like I said, Toronto's obviously got the homeless issue. I wish I had all the answers and that was something that we could fix. Two would be specifically the people living in tents down in Moss Park, right? So in LA, this is a very big issue, right? Because they've got warmer climate, beaches. I remember going and visiting LA, Santa Barbara, and all that kind of stuff too. And there's just people living all over the place down there. And I think if I we're traveling throughout the States and didn't have anywhere to go, I'd head to the ocean as well. But in Toronto, we have this thing usually around the end of December that lasts until middle of March. That's called winter.
It's cold.
And that usually gets people finding shelter one way or another, right? It kind of cleans up the tent cities and all that kind of stuff, because it's not bearable. I mean, you'll die of that hypothermia if you're outside in a tent all winter long without the proper gear.
But where are they going?
So exactly, and that's the main issue. Is where are we going to be able to have services for these people? And there's a ton of services, but they all seem to be backed up. I think that there's more funding that's going to end up going in there. I think the city and the province, knowing the situation with the current situation in the the world right now that everybody's dealing with, the wave of evictions that we think is going to be coming and that we know at least have been applied for, right? I think that the government and the city will step in and offer more services this winter than ever. I think that there's going to be plenty of commercial spaces available to be able to put those people in.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what we should do. And if office towers that are really not conducive for residential buildings for whatever reasons, those would make great shelters as well too, right?
What a wonderful segue. So we have an article here that is talking about, hang on a sec. Available Toronto office space has quadrupled in 2020 as work from home continues. And that's a great idea. I mean, if you have all this empty office space and all this money being printed out of thin air for the government, I mean, why not house some people in these spaces? Give the landlords some income.
Yeah, like not the A buildings or anything like that. I mean, we're not going to mix, some of the
It's getting them out
corporate
that's the
people
problem.
with
Getting them in is not such a problem. And people want to help. It's when you need them out that's the problem.
yeah.
And it doesn't sound nice, but I mean, at some point, the pandemic is
Yeah, we're practicing not using these words, man. We're practicing. We're trying.
At some point, this mess is
trying.
over, right? At some point, it's over, and they're gonna want to release that, to Google or whoever the hell's gonna pay.
Well, Amazon, right?
Right?
They just took on a huge lease now at 2 buildings.
So what's kind of crazy is that we got these people living in subways, we've got people living in tent cities, but we also have, and this is like, we've touched on it a couple times, but this is like major, super duper important stuff going on. People in Ontario are flocking to Vaughan Mills and another extended its hours. Like, you have to go shopping quickly, and everybody get as tight and close together as possible before we're closing your area down on Monday.
Yeah.
But like, people,
we knew that was going to happen.
Of course we do, but it's this crazy duality that's going on. Like, you've got people sleeping on subways and in tents in the park, and it's fucking cold out already. Like, for me, this is beyond unbearable. I could not sleep in this. I could not be outside in this for probably more than 4 hours, and I'd be crying for at least 2.5 of them, right? But while this is happening, there's a whole mess of people going to any store that is open, right? It's insane. Policemen like directing traffic.
Well, it sounds like maybe that was part of their decision, right, to close York Region. Is
so
not only the numbers going up, but
I was watching CP24 yesterday, and this doctor's sitting there going, "Why are we giving them 3 more days to like in these hot zones to like have super spreader events before it's closed down, and they take their super spreader events and put them on the down low?"
Yeah.
But like, why are we doing this?
We went out for lunch in Newmarket yesterday.
Sure.
Because I was in Aurora, and we were going up just to see somebody just north of East Gwillimbury. And I said, well, you know what? We may not be able to eat in a restaurant for a very long time, kids. I said, let's go and get some chorus.
Let's go to Newmarket. Nice. That's a short little jaunt for you, yeah? Oh, it was on the way somewhere?
It was on the way. I was in Aurora, yeah.
Got it. So the good news in all of this, the great news is that Ontario releases 3-phase vaccine rollout plan with inoculations begin on Tuesday.
I love it.
Beginning on
I love it.
How should I read?
We never thought it would be here so soon.
Isn't it? It's a miracle that it's here.
But we never thought it would be here so soon.
So here, check this out. This is amazing.
Okay.
Ontario has a total of 6,000 doses coming here for Tuesday.
Okay.
Of those,
are you on the list?
I am not. I'm not on the list. No, but of those 6,000,
I'm on the bottom of the list, but
3,000 goes to Ottawa and 3,000 goes to Toronto.
Okay.
Now, because they don't, or they're not sure that they're going to get another, so I think it's, anyways, 21 days you're supposed to take your second dose. So they're not sure that they're going to have enough to give the first set of people.
To save, yeah.
So they're saving. So it's only 1,500 people in Toronto are getting this thing on Tuesday. And it doesn't sound like we're getting, it says 90,000 more before the end of the year.
Okay.
and then everybody.
It's going to take a long time.
September.
It's going to take a long time, and that's okay. I think the main thing is it brings hope. It brings everybody back into, like making plans. I think when people are all stand still, not wanting to work, not wanting to spend money, not wanting to get out, not wanting to dream, not wanting to create, that makes everything really, really, really slow down on top of the slowdown that's already happening. So I think that this is going to just kind of bring some new energy in. People are going to say it's coming. I'm going to open up that business. I'm going to continue carrying on my project. I'm going to make it work the way that I need to make it work to be able to get, my life back together. And that's exactly what we need. Is we need hope right now. And I think the V to the E is going to be able to get people back into that hopeful mindset. So
the V to the E.
To the V to the E. Yeah, I don't know about that word. Are we allowed to say that word either?
I'm not sure what that.
I don't know. We'll have to talk about this. We'll talk about it at our board of directors meeting later.
Our quarterly meeting.
Yeah.
Can your employer force you to take the vaccine?
The guy on the radio told me yes. The guy on the radio said there has been cases that have required people to get flu shots or other types of vaccines in order to be able to work. So it's a new thing now. We'll see.
It seems from my research that it is completely legal for them to suggest that you do take it, and it is completely legal that they fire you if you don't.
Hey, this is the world we live in right now. People got to make their decisions with their big boy pants on, right? No more internet.
No more pull-ups.
Hiding behind the computer screen opinions. You got to go out there and say what's best for me and my family, and this is what I'm going to do. And you make that decision. That's what everybody has the right to make. So
it's a tough decision.
It's a tough decision. I agree.
It's a tough decision. So then there's another article that says the vaccine is coming. Are immunity passports next?
We'll see.
We're gonna see.
I think that it's
it kind of makes
something that I would like to sign up for if it's going to get me into more places. Like if that's how it worked out, if they were like, okay, TK, you're allowed to go to all these places without the immunity passport, but you can go to all those places plus all these additional places that you really love to go if you do have an immunity passport, then I would say, well, where do I get the immunity passport? Sign me up.
Sounds like
to me, it's a no-brainer.
Sounds like a cable plan. It's like
right, exactly. I would pay the additional $19.99 to get those channels.
So for $9.99, you can go to the essential services stores. Okay. For $19.99, we'll let you go to entertainment venues and restaurants, but not sporting events. If you want your
$79.99,
right, for the extreme package,
everywhere you want to go,
and we'll inoculate you. We'll inoculate you triple if you want it. All the inoculations you and your family desire for $79.99 per month.
Lifetime pass. Yeah.
Canadian families.
It's a weird time, man.
Will pay up to $695 more a year for groceries in 2021. And I know most of this doesn't seem like it has anything to do with real estate, but I'm pretty sure all of this affects real estate somehow. Like all of this. Like
let me just give you my 2 cents on that though quickly. And I agree with them that the prices have gone up.
They've already gone up. $695, no?
100%.
Yeah.
But we're actually spending a lot less money on food.
Because we're not paying for it out in a restaurant for $300.
I eat my lunch out all the time. I go to restaurants. I do takeout. There's a lot of stuff that is being paid for. So I'm eating at home a lot more. That's 100% true. So yeah, the average family and, they're not eating out a lot. They're taking a lunch and all that kind of stuff. I agree. But I think that it will be offset by those people who are working at home because they'll be eating at home, right? So really, is the average family going up $695, or is it just the average cost of food for the average consumption of each family going up $695? Because I don't think they have the data to say.
But I mean, listen, in the last year, for sure. I mean, that's only $50, $60 a month, right?
Yep.
So 100,000,000%, my grocery bill has gone up every single month during this pandemic. But my overall food bill, like at the beginning of this thing, we were afraid to order in, right? We were even afraid to get groceries, for God's sakes. But like, we were afraid to even order in. So my grocery bill went up, but my cost of food went down considerably, right? Exactly. Now it's been a long time, and my wife's sick of cooking every meal every day for everybody, and nobody likes the same thing. And anyways, like, now we're spending a little bit more money on food than we were before, because now we feel safe ordering like anything. Because it's easier,
exactly.
Now, right?
Yeah.
So for sure, our food bill is going to go up by a fortune. But groceries, 100%, it goes up $60 a month. It's nothing.
For sure. Yeah, no problem.
But I mean, for some people, they can't just absorb that and take this hit with their pay, and whatever else they've got going on. This could affect.
So it was about $250 a week. Each person, each family household, $250 a week in 2020 or 19, whatever the numbers were based off of.
What's that? What they ate? What they spent on their food?
Yeah.
Per person?
Roughly. Per family.
Per family, $250 a week.
Yeah.
Oh.
So now,
what are they eating? Macaroni and tuna?
Now it's going to go up. Well, the average family, Daryl, some people are very, very cautious about their spending and make sure they get the most for their money, right? So the next amount increase would probably be about $265 a week.
Oh, what a dream! Where do you do that? How do you do that? How do you eat like salmon and like healthy food and do that?
This is average families, Daryl. That's pretty typical. That's pretty typical.
That sounds like a good reason for why people have, well, I do too, but it sounds like that would create horrible eating habits.
Well, let's talk about that on the Toronto Health Show.
Toronto Health Show, right. Sorry. Yeah. I am distracted by all of this despair in our city right now.
Mm-hmm.
It's weird though, because it's kind of masked, because it's like hard to see depending on what industry you're in.
Mm-hmm. I know. I've been talking to a lot of people with different outlooks right now, and everybody's all over the place.
It's a mess. It's a mix. It's confusing. Okay, we talked about that. Bank of Canada holds steady on rates. That's about real estate.
Well, it's not that they just finally. Yes, we've done it.
7 minutes, we hit some real estate.
Yes, we finally got into the real estate chatter. I love it.
I wonder if anybody will watch this one.
But they held steady on rates, but their language has been, please subscribe, please. I swear the rest will be about real estate. Their language has been actually that they're willing to take any necessary measures possible in order to continue to stimulate the economy. So it kind of gives us the long-term outlook on them keeping rates as low as possible. They said they were, even if things even slipped further, they were willing to go back and buy more bonds and to basically create more money. They said that they will not go to negative rates, that their plan doesn't include going to negative rates. And this has been really, I think, the catalyst of all the markets, whether it be real estate, stocks, whatever, is knowing that money is going to be cheap for a very long time.
They have committed to 2023 at least a quarter point. They have said that they'll go even lower than that, not to zero, but they'll go even lower than that if they have to. They said they'll keep paying a mere $4 billion a week in bonds, buying them, not paying, buying them, $4 billion a week. That doesn't help.
They'll do what they got. They're going to do what they have to do. That's it.
Keep this thing afloat, baby.
That's it. Carte blanche in this one, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, Bank of Canada opens door to another rate cut, but not one below zero.
Mm-hmm.
Canada employment growth slows in November. Now, that's a little misleading because November wasn't so hot either. Basically the same as November. But the good news is that we're adding jobs. We're not losing jobs.
And the lockdown now in November came, so there was obviously going to be a slowdown and everything else too. The job numbers are weird this year.
Everything is weird this year.
Don't even look at the job numbers from 2020. They make no sense, and it's like there's too many variables.
I can't make sense of anything right now.
We're gonna start keeping track in January again.
Listen, I had a hard time finding stuff about real estate in the news this week. Like there wasn't much. There was a bunch of regurgitated November stats were the record highs again, and
yeah.
I mean there wasn't too much going on. I didn't really find.
I read a lot of negative stuff this week.
Well, I mean, it was the same old condos downtown, blah, 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 and Airbnb units, blah, 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 and mom and pop. I read one mom and pop investors are getting hurt right now on condos. And I was like, well, how are they any different than any other investor? Like, what's the difference? And there didn't seem to be a difference, so I left it out. But there's not much going on. You got a bunch of people mad that Ford is like using his powers to I guess, speed up some development projects, which is cool. If you have been a developer for the last 50 years and like
you conveniently have been buying in the Greenbelt and you conveniently have been donating to certain people's political campaigns.
Remember that? I think we need to do this now.
Yeah,
I think it's time.
I think that it's time.
Your time has come.
Open up the Greenbelt in a way,
but not the whole Greenbelt,
just the places I own.
My properties.
Yeah. Because we don't want to cause any problems. And you know that guy who's been really causing us a lot of issues down there? Let's get rid of him.
That's right.
Let's make sure that guy's not in charge anymore.
The whole city resigned over all of this. Did you see that? Like all these top officials resigned because of this opening of the Greenbelt and all of these like pushed permits.
I didn't hear about the whole city. I mean, to me,
not the whole city, but like 6 head up guys, like high up guys were, we're out of here. This is bullshit. This is completely against everything that this is supposed to be about, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that will, I guess, get some supply on the board. But
sure.
I had a tough time. There was a couple articles about that, and then before the virus, Durham region had relatively affordable homes. Now bidding wars and bully offers are the norm. A lot of stuff talking about like cottage country and like, but it's all just regurgitated stuff coming back up again, I find. Like there's nothing really happening at the moment. TK, can you hear me?
I can, yeah, but it seemed to be blanking out, so I was thinking it was my headphones.
It might have been my incessant amount of speech.
No, I think it was my headphones because now it's clear. Yeah, so Durham region.
Durham.
Crazy. Prices don't make sense.
Where do they? Where have you found that the prices make sense?
Where have I found that the prices make sense?
Yeah.
In the GTA.
Do they?
No, I'm saying inside the GTA. I think like core properties in Toronto.
Echo. Oh, it's gone. Okay, good.
Core properties in Toronto.
Core properties in Toronto, the prices make sense.
They make sense, yeah. So like, but they're higher end stuff. So whether it be like, Rosedale, Forest Hill, Yorkville, stuff like that, the prices are making sense because there's not that pressure. When the bidding wars happen and there's multiple people competing, that's when prices start to get out of line. In these other areas, it's like, okay, like how many buyers really are going to buy a $3 million, $4 million, $5 million property? Not that much. So there's maybe competition, but people are basing their list price, the sale price off of the last sale. So therefore they're still in line with what prices have been doing. And maybe someone jumps on it really quick. And then that's why, that's the competitive nature of it. But when it's a multiple offer scenario and someone's like, well, my neighbor got $1 million or my neighbor got 600 or whatever, I'm going to price it at that point. And then all of a sudden 30 people come in and bring an offer, the prices get driven up. I mean, our deal of the week this week is in Etobicoke, and one of my partners sold it, and it's $357,000 over asking, for a property that is nowhere near that value point according to the data, but that's what the buyers were willing to pay, and there's probably multiple people in that price point as well too. So
hold on, but how 357 over asking? how much more than the last sale on the street, or how much the closest recent comparable?
I was told that it was at least $150,000 more than anything else that had been selling in the neighborhood.
How many houses trade hands in that neighborhood?
Plenty.
Wow.
Yeah, but the place needed work. It shouldn't have been at that price point, and that's what I'm seeing.
So
I'm seeing that.
who bought it? Was it a?
I don't have all the details, unfortunately, on this one.
Not like who specifically, but like an end user or a developer, or
end users, yeah.
End
user.
user. Wow.
Yeah, it's just a simple bungalow that needs work. Like
that's a big jump. Like I listen, 357, $1 million over asking makes no difference if the asking was 750,000 under the recent comps.
I completely agree with you. In this case, it was priced attractively, but not at a point that was unreasonable. What the experts in the area were saying is something between 150, 120, or $200,000 over asking would have been like a really great offer to take.
So
and then someone said, "No, I want to go 357,000 over asking."
How many offers?
Couple, I think it was between 15 and 20, something like that.
So out of those 15, let's just call it 15, okay? You got 15 offers coming in. Out of those 15, and you have 15 offers coming in because people are obviously needing a house and want to live in this area, right? Okay. So you have 15 people looking. Like, how many of them are actually just settling on paying this much for this house because they're just fed up with the process already?
Exactly.
How many of them actually want that house and want to pay for it? Or
zero.
Isn't that crazy?
Zero are thrilled about buying that house. They're just like, I guess this is the only option I have. I'll make it work. I'm going to be here for 20 years. Who cares? I can't lose. Let's go. And they're right.
Well, they're right until, they realize that they can't fit a powder room on the main floor or a closet and a powder room or something.
From, right? Financial hardship a couple years down the road. But the guys who are secure, who say, look, I'm comfortable. Yeah, I mean, they can't lose. I mean, 20 years from now, looking at the price they paid, they'll say that was a deal.
From a financial standpoint, but is it like the house you wanted to live in for the last 10 years, 15 years?
Well, you better be able to make it the house that you like. You better be able to make it work for you.
That's sad. That's sad that there's a lot of people, because if it was 15, how many are going to be looking at the next one?
But here's a question for you though, Daryl. How many people do you know actually get to buy the house that they absolutely want? We're in a society of people who just want more than we have. So it's no matter what house you get, it's well, I want one on the ravine. Well, I want one that's newer. I want one that's bigger. I want one that's closer to this school or whatever. There's always something.
It's sad that we can't have what we want. No,
we should all get what we want. It should be ravine lots for everybody.
We should all live on the water, and we should all have what we want, and we should all be able to pay for it.
Yeah, that would be the only way it would work well.
We need robots. Oh, the door almost came open. Is it locked? Or did somebody think twice?
He probably got stopped. He got stopped at the border.
He
didn't have his immunity passport. Yeah.
You may not enter here.
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be like. You're going to have to scan your phone. Sorry, sir, you have not been inoculated. You have 10 seconds to comply.
Roll up your sleeve. Roll up your sleeve, or be gone with you.
Put that stuff in me quick.
Yeah, exactly.
It's scary.
I know.
It's scary.
This is where we're at. So I mean, the market's crazy. A buyer asked me. He goes, "Oh, do you think we should start looking again, because we're gonna go and look at a property this weekend through another source?" And he said, maybe we can go out next week. He says, "Have you seen it slow down?" And I said, 100%. This is in Durham region. 100%. It is busier now than it was before.
Yeah, it's a train. You can't stop this thing.
Yeah, I'm it's way worse than it was 2 weeks ago. So I'm good luck to you.
What?
Right? Let's try to make it work when you're ready.
What are we gonna put in front of this thing to slow it down?
What can the only time things get slowed down is when the government steps in.
No, I love what you always say, is that the only time it slows down is when you take away people's ability to buy.
Exactly. And that's the government coming in and, tightening up lending restrictions. So let's talk about the government's plan right now, because it's all BS. So they got the foreign buyers tax.
Yeah.
Okay, national.
Yeah.
They got incentives for first-time buyers for that program where there's an equity share with CMHC. Not going to work.
Vacant.
They got the vacant home tax, right? Sorry, in Toronto.
Yeah.
Right, which, you know, how much is that going to free up? They've got Airbnbs. Not only your principal residence is going to be allowed, the Airbnb, right? So you can only rent out in Toronto your principal residence through Airbnb. So either you're going to have a shared space in your place, or you're going to leave your place. Like I've stayed in. I went to New York, and this girl's like, "Yeah, that's my condo. Like, don't go through my closets." And then like we stayed in her condo while she lived with a friend for 2 days, and then she came back. That's how it's done. So it's her principal residence, right? And she rents it out temporarily on the weekends to make some money, to make her rent in New York. That's going to be allowed. But you're not going to be allowed to buy places and rent them out and have them as ghost hotels. So that's going to add some inventory to the market.
Do you need to have your virus passport to get an Airbnb?
As of right now, no. But that could change.
There'll be a thing to check off for the homeowner. It'll be like,
well, the Airbnb one for the license, there's going to be something. So it's like you have to register, right? So that you have to claim all your income. You have to have quarterly reports. You have to pay a tax to the city for your Airbnb unit, right? Provide all the documentation and everything that you're doing it right, and you get a license number. Then on all your Airbnb ads, you have to have the license number. And the city can hold Airbnb responsible and unit holders if they're trying to do short-term rentals without that legal license. Hotel business is back. That's as of December 31st.
So no, they have to register by the 31st. So okay, so now what does that do? What's the fallout of that? What happens?
So if I own a unit that I wanted to rent out as Airbnb, that's not my principal residence.
Yeah.
I cannot rent it out as an Airbnb.
So now you have to rent it out as a long-term rental or
long-term rental, or I need to sell it. That's it. Get rid of it. That's no longer legal in Toronto to have an Airbnb there, and I can face fines. And Airbnb will not allow it on their site because they'll lose their business. Now that they've gone public, they're not going to be doing anything shady.
So in my experience, when people factor in Airbnb as part of their pro forma, they generally feel that they can pay more for the property because they're going to have more rental income than a normal long-term rental, right? So that means there's going to be a lot more Airbnb condos on the market, or have all of those already
to help us with supply?
But have all of those already hit the market?
I believe the ones that were at the highest risk already have. Because who's been renting out Airbnb? So how are you carrying it this whole time, right? But I could be wrong. They could have had a mortgage deferral. They could have, so there could be some more coming in a wave coming up in January, but I don't think so. I don't feel like that's the case. I feel like most of them figured it out already back in April, May, June,
But Airbnb just launched their IPO and it went like through the roof, and they're supposedly like making money somehow. Like, how's Airbnb doing okay through this?
I don't think you need to make a lot of money.
No,
I don't think you need to make a lot of money to have a successful IPO.
Right,
like
but they were valued higher than most hotel chains.
Yeah,
like $100 billion or some crazy valuation.
Yeah. So again,
but if I can't buy a house to rent it out to somebody through Airbnb, it's really hard to make something cash flow nowadays without putting in a ton of equity.
You need to exactly.
So I guess
exactly.
That
so
serves a purpose.
Yeah. So you're not going to, right? So you're going to invest in other things. You're going to maybe save up more of a down payment, have a smaller mortgage so that you can get the cash flows. You're going to leave Toronto. You're going to do all the things that you need to do as an investor. So the government's really tackling a lot of supply stuff. All those measures are all supply based, right? Because that's what they're trying to do. Is they did the stress test already. They did foreign buyers tax. They've done a few things that really hurt the demand side, and they know that like it really throws us for a spin. And I think right now with the pandemic, they don't want to. I said it again. They don't want to put any more pressure on the demand side because they know that that's when the markets can change. And how that would happen would be obviously raising interest rates, or changing some of the mortgage guidelines, which to date, I mean, has already been adjusted, like like with so much scrutiny, right? So what is it? I don't know. I'm not the guy with the answers. I'm just letting you know that there are things that the government's trying to do. They're trying to weasel their way into the housing market to figure it out, and they're not able to.
Yeah.
Right? They're not able to. They're coming up with all these harebrained ideas that really aren't going to do much. Have a little bit of impact.
Well, I mean, this it should effectively put people that should be buying properties to rent to people, like it should be pushing it into their hands rather than speculators that really shouldn't be owning these properties and paying extra for them because of stuff like crazy Airbnb rents if you just rent it to anybody, right? We allow parties here, so it gets rented every day for like triple a hotel room or whatever, like people are getting way more money than they should, and they shouldn't even be owning the thing because they put like 10% in.
Yeah.
So that'll actually flood out those bad landlords.
Exactly.
But then who uses Airbnb? People with basement suites? People
with basement suites, people who are willing to go like maybe temporarily live at their house. They got a spouse or a partner that they're living with temporarily, and it's like, hey, my apartment's vacant like most of the year. Why don't I just put an ad on Airbnb so that way when I'm staying at your place, I can be, helping with my rent or my mortgage payments.
So the inventory on Airbnb is going to drop drastically, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
How do they launch an IPO? It goes through the roof.
That's just Toronto.
But this is not happening like this is just a Toronto
thing?
This
is just Toronto.
Because we have so many condos here?
Because the government's trying to do what they can to,
Why can't you buy? Can you buy a house? You can't even buy a house and let
Toronto.
people live in it.
Toronto.
So I can go to...
No condos, no houses, whatever. But you can go to other parts of the city and rent out things under Airbnb as well.
So I can go to Durham?
Durham, yes.
I can go to Durham. I can buy a house and I can split it into a
and
whole
you can say, this is
Airbnb
the party house.
spaces.
Everybody come and party here, and then jump on the GO train and go to whatever downtown club you want to go. Yeah.
Ooh, I see an opening.
Business idea.
Everybody, Ding. Follow me to Durham.
Yeah.
It's rocking out there.
Yeah.
Wow.
Did you read the new, like, all the forecasts everyone has, like all these
yes.
best case, worst case, base case, like all this
garbage. Good case available. How is that possible?
How is it, like, if you're sitting there, you're a shareholder of this major like financial institution, and they're giving you their outlook, and they're just like, the market could do anything in between these 2 points. It's like, well, yeah, thanks, Tips. Like, I really appreciate your guidance on this one.
But this is how all of these risk assessment type businesses run, right? That's why you have to qualify for a 4% mortgage when you're only going to pay a 1% mortgage, right? Because they do all these risk analysis baloney, and they figure out like a whole bunch of bullshit scenarios, and they say, all of these could happen if this horse shit happens or this horse shit happens.
And check your mic cable for me for a second, Daryl. Is your mic cable okay? Check
to the one.
Sound check supposed to happen before we get on the show.
Jamming on the one. If you know what that's from, put a comment below. TK, do you know what that's from?
No.
Jamming on the one. No? Didn't you watch The Cosby Show?
I have watched The Cosby Show, yes.
I bet it's a different experience to watch The Cosby Show nowadays.
I bet you that you can't really watch The Cosby Show very many places these days other than the internet.
I'll bet you there's a lot of double entendres in there that you can add in. It'd be really funny to do a YouTube channel where we, redubbed The Cosby Show. Hey, little girl. Come over here for a sec.
We'll think about that one next time.
Yikes. That'd be funny, though. We should do that.
Back to the agenda, Daryl. Don't get distracted.
I am so distracted today.
What other kind of articles do you have today?
I got nothing. I have absolutely nothing. But hold on, go back to the good case, okay case, and worst
Best
case.
case, worst case, base case.
The best case is -6% for home prices.
Okay.
That's the best case.
That's from who?
That was like the best case of the worst cases from, I don't know, one of them. It was all 6 banks like put in their forecasts, and
Exactly.
everybody said shit, horseshit, worse horseshit. So except for us, we're going to make trillions, but you guys, your houses are going down.
So this is the thing. So right now, if banks are, and I'm definitely not an expert, if banks are looking for the ability to be able to, justify holding on to money and not lending money as easily and having all their systems and products in place for them to continue to make money, because they're like, look, we're going to have a ton of losses, the markets are going to crash, we're going to have all these worst case scenarios happen, and we better make sure we've got provisions to make sure that this is going to be okay, and that we're going to be able to ride this wave of economic uncertainty. Then they better have these worst case scenarios projected, so that way when it doesn't happen, they can say, well, we prepared for it, and thankfully we're doing well, but we had our best third quarter in the history of the institution last year.
Yeah.
And then
somehow our investments income soared, maybe because we got to invest all this free money for the last quarter.
Yeah, so 1.8% of mortgages that came off of the mortgage deferral were delinquent, 1.8%, which is not far off from a typical mortgage delinquency rate.
Didn't we
like we're not talking about. Well, this is now because they've talked that there's 69,000 mortgage deferrals left with the big 6 banks.
Yeah.
And so now, look, it's a pretty significant amount of mortgages have come off of deferrals and have been now going back into repayment. And so 1.8% of them have been
it's beyond significant.
Yeah.
Beyond significant. It's like basically everybody's off the deferral program. 69,000 across the whole country is like no one. I've noticed a deterioration in your ability to hear me properly since you took off your earphones.
No, the earphones are the same. It's I'm getting a little bit of in and out sound from you, unfortunately, today. But that's okay. As long as you're hearing me, then at least there'll be one voice that's pretty consistent. But there was a couple other numbers too. So like the people who are doing the people who had credit cards under deferral, that was like a higher number. Like that was like 8% or something like that when those people were actually becoming delinquent too. So the credit card people. But then the number that was the most important number that I heard, I'm trying to just find it right now because it's really important to understand that this number makes sense. This one here. This is, to me, this is the most important thing, because they said the people who are delinquent, so that 1.8%, depending on which category they put them under, those people who had been, 32% of them were delinquent prior to the deferral.
So
right?
So what's the real number?
Do you know what I mean? Like, so if 32% of them were already delinquent before this whole entire deferral came into place, well, we just delayed the inevitable.
They're scrounging to get 1.8% to be the number.
Exactly.
But
right?
This is, look, we've learned this from our very brief stint in the media, that negativity sells, right? If I put up a positive thumbnail, nobody watches the show. If I put up a negative thumbnail, a few more people than nobody watches the show, right? No, but it's true. I mean, even if I look back, I sent you a text before the show. I look back at my thumbnail from last week, which did not do very well. And it was like, there was no scary title. So watch this one.
I have a good thumbnail for this one. Tell me how you think.
Okay.
Tell me what you think.
Yeah, tell me.
Okay. Pictures of the tent city.
Ooh.
Is this the new form of affordable housing?
Ooh.
Mic drop.
Boom. Look at that. Can I add some blood and like some gore? Because I think we need to go over that top. Can I put Can I put a picture of you eating one of the tent people?
No. But thanks though. That was a good idea. Nice try. We're brainstorming right now.
Well,
good try.
I think we're on to something.
we're onto something.
But that's going to be next. That's going to, okay. Here's a prediction.
Okay.
In the next 6 months, we will feature a story of a person eating another person because of the virus.
That's what you think?
No, not really. But it'd be crazy.
I thought you were going to say the vaccine, because that would be more like in line.
Okay, now we got a movie starting.
That's what the funny memes are online right now is, they have the little lady who
I thought we were into something here.
Got the first vaccine, and then they show a clip of whatever movie that was where the little old lady's climbing on the ceiling and stuff, right? So
have you seen the old Israeli lady on TikTok that yells at her grandson all the time? You idiot! No? Oh, she's hilarious. That'd be funny. Her taking the vaccine and turning into a zombie. All right.
Her going crazy, yeah.
We are at the bottom of the barrel, sir.
Okay. So, December predictions.
Okay.
Please.
Right now is the perfect time. Don't unsubscribe. How about that?
No, unsubscribe. That's the only thing we ask. The December predictions. It is going to be gangbusters on the real estate market until
in December
2021, January, yes.
Because if you can't go to the store and buy some shoes, you may as well buy a house.
If there's 10, 20 offers on properties, it means one person bought it and there's 9 or 19 people left who have not bought a property.
Well, aren't
there
agents?
They will all line up with the next property.
Yeah, aren't there agents that have been sitting there going like, wait till it slows down at Christmas time? It always slows down at Christmas time.
And
now they're all like, giddy up, you better get an offer in.
As a buyer agent?
Yeah.
Well, they really did not make the right call this year.
Well, but if you're a
listing agent and you told your clients to wait until the second or third week of December to sell, when traditionally it could be a little bit slower of a time, you're a genius.
Well, yeah, but that's just fucking stupid. You're not a genius. You're lucky fuck. If you're realistically, I could see somebody with a buyer saying like, now's not the right time to buy. This thing's going to come down lower because it'll slow down around Christmas. But I think everybody's sitting there going, you better hurry up, man, because this thing's not slowing down. Like, forget about Christmas this year. There is no Christmas.
It doesn't look like it is. And if you put your house on the market today and your neighbor sold in October, you're going to get a lot more money than they did.
So the prediction for December, hold on a sec. I mean, we have a decent sampling. I mean, we're almost halfway through.
Yes.
So are the numbers in fact up, or is this a tick gut feeling?
Sales numbers are going to be down because there'll be less, there's less inventory. So there's less properties that are going to trade hands, which is typical. The average price in Toronto will probably still trickle down slightly because it's going to include condos, but freehold properties are going to be up for sure.
Days on the market?
Freehold properties, much lower.
Condos?
Rising, yeah.
So if we just took a snippet of that, condos rising?
Yeah.
That's the thumbnail.
That's the thumbnail.
Condos rising, says...
TK says condos rising.
Says TK.
Days on market. Context. All right, well, let's call it, and let's...
we almost made it out from the bottom of the barrel there.
Reconvene for next Sunday. No big deal.
Reconvening next Sunday morning.
Thanks for having me here, Daryl.
Good to see you, sir.